Hello, and welcome to That Atheist Show. I'm Preston, that atheist dude.
I'm Connie, that atheist lady, and tonight we are going to talk about morality. So, everybody hears this all the time. A lot of people say that atheists can't be moral. Something that I've heard from a lot of people is that you can only be moral if you derive your ethics from a moral authority. That it's possible for atheists to behave ethically, but it is not possible for atheists to be moral because we don't have that moral authority. So, first, I'm going to read the definition of the word moral. As an adjective, it is of or relating to the judgment of right and wrong in human behavior, expressing or teaching an idea of right behavior, agreeing with a standard of right behavior, good, able to choose between right and wrong, and likely but not proved. So, and then as a noun, it's the lesson to be learned from a story or an experience. So I guess it kind of just depends what you go off of there. And then ethical. Ethical as an adjective is of or relating to ethics, following accepted rules of conduct, following professional standards of conduct, sold only on doctor's prescription. So that's like ethical drugs. And then ethics is a branch of philosophy dealing with what is good and bad, with moral duty and obligation, the rules of moral conduct governing an individual or group. So it seems like, according to the definitions, morals are defined by the philosophy of ethics. So if we are able to, what's the word I'm searching for here? If we're able to behave ethically, then that would in turn mean that we are behaving morally also, right?
Based on how you judge of what to be right or wrong, based on how you were
Yeah.
taught with what stories you grew up with. So, when people grow up with the Bible, that story is teaching them their morality. They're deriving their morality off of a book. A lot of
Yeah.
religions do this. They use the Quran for Islam. They use the Torah for Jewish. The old pantheon religions, they used to have all kinds of hieroglyphs all over the walls and things like that. They interpreted these moralities. They saw these stories of these gods, and they felt, even Babylonian times felt, that the gods were instilling these moral codes into them, and basically all of them ended up being under servitude as moral compasses. A lot of the Babylonian, the Egyptian, they used slaves because they believed that gods were over them and trying to use humans as their pawns,
Mhm.
basically.
Well, and it also, I mean, also the definition of moral, it says that it can be derived from an experience. And I think that's where most people actually get their from. In modern day society is something happens and then you learn from your personal experiences or from the experience of others that, like, oh, I did that and it made me feel like a complete jerk face, so maybe I won't do that anymore. Or I did that and then it resulted in bad things happening in my life, so maybe that wasn't such a good thing to do. So
Well, I think a really good connection to make with that statement is that when you look at these countries that were bombing in the Middle East, we're flying over
mhm,
there, we're dropping bombs, we're basically confirming their religions because they're all apocalyptic and they're speaking of
mhm,
stars raining down. So these kids are over there. And they're sitting with their families, and all of a sudden a bomb goes off and their best friend down the street is dead. So they're thinking, oh my goodness, these demons in the sky, they're killing all of our people. This is horrible, this is evil. We are the good guys. We need to stop these guys. We need to go out there and
yeah,
fight them, and then we need to find out who is fighting them so we can help them fight them because they just killed my friends. That is
mhm,
what that personal experience led that child to believe. So
yeah,
later on in life, he's growing up and he's got weapons now, and he's got friends with weapons, so they're ready to fight these demons in the sky that we are. And we're over there, and we're like, these guys are bastards. They believe what we don't believe in. We need to kill them.
Because they bombed our shit.
Yeah, like, they bomb us, so we're going to keep bombing them. And then and like, the whole idea of bombing an idea is just stupid, because you'll kill somebody that's a leader of the religion or the religious movement, but he has an idea which is going to be passed on to the next human that takes his place in leadership. So you're going to kill the leadership of the religion, but then that's going to make other people more extreme, that you're validating their beliefs. Yeah,
exactly. You're validating their beliefs by killing that guy, because they're glad that you would kill that guy.
They believe you're the devil. They're like, the devil is killing our people.
There's all these self-fulfilling prophecies, because it's like, if you go around being a dickwagon to people, eventually someone's going to kill you. And then it's like, oh, we knew they were going to kill that guy.
Right,
it's like, well, because if you go around being an asshole to people and killing people and stuff, eventually someone's going to kill you right back.
Yeah, the whole revenge theory and things like that. Like, Buddhism is a really cool moral philosophy, because what they do is they derive from balance. They want everybody to be balanced with their emotions. They want you to understand that you're going to go through horrors, you're going to go through really good moments. As long as you don't go to the extreme of either, you'll be more enlightened, and you'll be spiritual, and you won't have to worry about your next life, because you won't have to worry about that bad karma. It's a cool way to think, it is, but then they involve that whole rebirth thing, and the whole, if you don't want to be reborn into a bad life, you can achieve enlightenment and then go into like a weird, whatever Buddha did. Like, that whole enlightened ascension thing that he did to whatever. I mean, like, they're great stories, and they have these moral backgrounds, but so does Harry Potter. Like, Harry Potter has amazing morals.
All of the Dr. Seuss books, like all of the Dr.
I mean,
Seuss
especially
books.
Dr. Seuss. That's what I learned a lot of morals from, honestly.
I know, right?
A lot more morals from these religious texts, but the thing is that they'll have these religious beliefs and these religious texts teaching them what to feel. So it ends up all open for interpretation. Once something is opened up for interpretation, that's a subjective thing. Morality, to us, through evidence-based thinking of what we've, not only what we've experienced, but what we've researched overall throughout history, is that morality is not objective. It is all subjective. It is to each person's interpretation. Just like I said earlier, to us, this whole country, Iran, is evil. Like, forget the innocent people, because they're all evil. And then to them, we're sitting here basically declaring that they're sanctioned and all these things and stuff like that, and they're just like, what the fuck, America? Like, you guys are bastards. Like, it's crazy.
You can have bases in every country in the world, but we can't have nuclear power?
And everybody around them has nukes too. It's like, come on. Like, if they shoot one, they're dead. Like, if they shoot one thing without authorization from every fucking radar in the world, they're gonna be dead within seconds. And the rocket will probably be shot out of the sky. I mean, really, think about it. Like, it's probably not gonna happen. I mean, it's ridiculous. This fear mongering that happens based on this. So the way that they base the fear-mongering is on the sense that these people in general in this area of Earth are just evil because they have no morals. They don't believe in our Christian God. And
that's the funny thing about it's the Christian God, and the Christian God is the moral authority. But we just did a little bit of research, because I was like, man, I've read like 5 different versions of the Bible, and I cannot recall the word moral actually being in there. So we were like, holy shit, let's go look that up. So I went over to Bible Gateway, and the only
great
version,
website, by the way.
Yeah, the only version of the Bible that actually has the word moral in it is this one right here. It's the Living Bible, which was published in 1971. So Christians claim to be the moral, they have the moral superiority.
The authority. They have the authority.
Yeah, they have the moral authority, and morality comes from their God, but they didn't even fucking use the word until 1971.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And we're
Now,
just like,
tell the do you have that website still up to where it says that the Living Bible is from hell?
oh, I closed it because
Oh
my
no!
browser was
What was the
acting
name of the
stupid.
website? Jesus Christ the Savior, and it said that the Living.
It was Jesus Savior something. I don't know. I googled the way I found it was I googled what denominations use the Living Bible. Like, I picked up the Living Bible from a Seventh-day Adventist thrift store that I like simply because they're open on Sundays and no other thrift store is open on Sundays because they're all ran by some, Christian organization,
Yeah.
and the rest of them close on Sundays. Well, I like to fucking go shopping on Sundays. So I've started liking this Seventh-day Adventist thrift store. And so I picked up the Living Bible there because they always have a stack of Bibles that you can take for free. And so I grabbed it from there, but I'd never actually seen anybody use it because, like, I went to a pen that I like, and then I went to a non-denominational church, and they preferred the King James version, but they were okay with the NIV version. So I was like, dude, I don't know what denomination actually uses this damn Bible. Which then we Googled, and it just seems like that there isn't any one specific denomination that prefers that Bible. It's an accepted version of the Bible to read in many Protestant denominations. It didn't specify, which there's 41 different Protestant denominations. But what I found was that the ones that do prefer it are youth ministries. And the reason behind that is because it's in super, super plain English. So it's easy to understand. So if you're,
It's modern
trying
English.
to, yeah, it's modern English. If you're trying to get young people on board with your religious group,
Got to go with what they understand.
yeah, you got to go with what they understand. If you come at them with a bunch of begats and
Shakespeare
dies
language.
and yeah, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you even talking about? So that's, but I never saw it used in a church, and I don't think I know anybody who's seen it used in a church. But
I
so
used
that's
to do the New
only
International
version. Yeah, that's the only version that actually uses the word moral, though. And I'm like, it's not even a favorite.
No,
It's not even-
I was looking up on evangelical website, and they were saying to just follow the Ten Commandments, follow all the rules in the Bible, and basically Jesus saved you from bad stuff. Like that's they literally are going by the laws of the Bible as to what they should live by. Everything that God says, yes. Everything that's worldly, everything that's taught outside of the Bible, reject. Just don't even think that it could possibly be a good thing because God didn't say that. So all of these advancements that are happening in society from a secular perspective, from secular activists, starting with our founding fathers, they were secular. They wanted religion to not be involved, so that way the morals involved with religion, which were all involving slavery and woman oppression and all these things that they read and saw. I mean, Benjamin Franklin wrote his own Bible. He literally annotated the Bible, took out all the crazy weird shit, and was just like, this is the cool stuff that everybody should know about, and everything else is bullshit. That's basically what Benjamin Franklin did, and not many. I think the Freemasons still use his Bible. But what we want to get into next here is Sam Harris, famous neurologist. He's also, I think he studies a lot of sociology. He studies Islam a lot. He has a lot of very important conferences and lectures about these things. He's a very smart guy. He has something to say about morals, so let's see what he has to say.
Erred TV. The world is thinking.
I'm going to briefly remind you of some of the reasons why religion can't be the repository of our moral wisdom generally. One is that when we go to Scripture, we're the guarantors of the wisdom we find there. We find the golden rule, and we say, aha, that's why you should read the Bible. Okay, that's just about the wisest thing ever said. But then we, and we includes fundamentalists and Orthodox Jews, we ignore the rest of the book. We ignore the places in Deuteronomy and Leviticus and 2 Samuel where the most mind-numbing theocratic barbarism is recommended. So we bowdlerize the book. So clearly our moral tools are coming from outside the text. There's also the fact that there's obvious contradictions between the world's faiths. And this is a map of world religion. This is an example I've taken from my colleague Richard Dawkins. This is not how knowledge spreads over the face of the earth. I mean, there's no reason, if you're in the business of understanding truths of any kind, truths about human well-being, truths about the universe, you wouldn't expect your belief system to hug national boundaries in this way. And no one, I think, just imagine India. Is it possible that they believe, the billion Hindus in India at the moment, that they alone, among all the world's people, well, they could probably build me a better remote, there's no doubt about that. Do they even think that they know that Ganesh, the elephant-headed god, exists and must be worshipped? I mean, this is not the way we're discovering things about the nature of the world. That people are accidentally born into the right belief system by dint of geography. Now, apart from the contradictions between faiths, there are impressive patterns of contradiction within every faith. Each one of these red arcs is linking two verses in the Bible that are just deal breakers for omniscience. I mean, these are statements that the Bible is just self-refuting in hundreds of places. Jesus was crucified the day before the Passover meal. Jesus was crucified the day after the Passover meal. I mean, you just cannot make sense of these two claims. There's also the inconvenient fact that the most important and easily resolved moral conundrums are conundrums that the creator of the universe apparently gets wrong. So slavery is perhaps the most consequential and easiest moral problem we've ever had to confront. Slavery is supported in the Bible, both in the Old Testament and the New. The God of Abraham never envisioned a time where human beings ceased to keep slaves. That is a fact. And then Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy, was right to point out that theology was on the side of the slaveholders. I mean, it was despite theology that we got rid of slavery.
Alright, so basically what he's explaining is that religion started off with all of these crazy, insane morals that we've literally evolved out of. As a society, as a human species, we have decided that these old morals that were created in a book that we believed in so heavily are just ridiculous. They just don't make any sense. They have no equality, they have no unity, there's no way for the world to come together because of all of these religious texts. Every single one of them has their own contradictions, has their own ridiculous morals. Buddhism is not a theist religion, it's a philosophy. They have Buddha as their sort of deity, like some of the Buddhists believe in him, some of them just believe in the philosophy. It's such like an ambiguous thing. But all these other ones like Hinduism and Islam and all that, they all follow these doctrines that are so out of date that they have to rewrite them. The New Testament was written way after the Old Testament. I just learned this tonight that Islam's Quran was rewritten as the Hadith, I think it's called the Hadith. And that has basically new laws that contradict all of the Quran, basically. I have a video because what we're doing is we're showing you Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins because we want to show everybody an atheist perspective. I also have a religious perspective from a clergy member. Now, with Islam, I have a guy that we all see the news. We all have the evidence that those that believe in the Quran like ISIS and all of those Arab a lot of the Arab nations throughout the years that we've lived have been just destroying stuff over there, killing people with their Quran. They've been reading it, holding it up and saying this is justifying our way of killing. So now you look at the moderates, just like the Christians, to where we used to have the crusades of the Christians killing everybody, and now we have the ones that are saying, no, that was bad. We have this guy from Islam basically explaining the ethics, morals, and laws of the Hadith because they don't. He's basically ignoring the Quran and following the new laws. So here it is.
Practice what is called in Arabic to be a Muslim. I have to practice what is called in Arabic Sharia. Sharia is the Arabic word for path, which means the way. In order to honor God, I have to become one with God by allowing my heart, my soul, and my mind to espouse divine attributes and divine qualities. That is what Sharia is. It is the path that I have to follow to be close to God. Sharia law has 5 objectives, called in Arabic maqasid al-Sharia, the objectives of law and ethics. Number 1 objective is to safeguard the intellect and the right to thinking by each and every human being. Number 2, to safeguard the wealth and the right to accumulate wealth by each and every human being. Number 3, to safeguard deen or religious practices and the right to practice religion in the way you see fit by each and every human being. Number 4, to safeguard and protect the dignity of all people. And number 5, to protect the land from destruction. For anything to be called ethical, according to the teachings of Islam, it has to go through those 5 filters, the objectives of law and ethics. Also, Islam speaks about the rule of law, that no one is above the law and that the law is above all. That is to say, there is no favoritism, if you will, that everyone has to respect the law and that the law does not favor someone over another one because of skin or race, ethnicity or religion or even sexual orientation. All people have to be respected and have to be honored, and that everyone is a part of that political establishment. Also within political ethics, Islam speaks about the right of minorities, the right of minorities. For example, the Jews and the Christians are called in Islam Ahlul Kitab and Ahlul Dhimma, people of covenant and people of revelation. That is to say, in order to be true to our God as Muslims, we have to be true to our brothers and sisters within the Jewish and the Christian community who received revelation very much like we have received revelation. Believing that in order to honor our covenant with God, we have to honor our covenant with our Jewish and the Christian brothers and sisters. Do not believe that the Christians are not allowed to practice Christianity in the Arab and Muslim world. There are bad practices in some Muslim cultures, but there are some bad practices against Islam in America. Not because America is bad. Everywhere you do have people who may act irrationally and speak a language that does not even represent their faith. But in theology, in our teachings, Islam requires us to respect Jews and Christians. The Quran says, "Lakum dinukum waliya din." To you is your religion, and to me is mine. Out of respect, I respect yours, respect mine.
Alright, so from a lot of people in America especially, that should be a very shocking video considering we have things like ISIS. We have radicalized domestic home terrorists and they're basically killing people with the Quran in their hand. So what we see here, this is evidence of the fact that humans are evolving their morals. The morals are no longer written in stone. They're not objective. They're not the same for every human. They're different on every continent. They're different for every culture, every tradition, every religion, every belief,
They're different from person to person.
Yeah, literally from person to person. So you're talking about something that is completely subjective, completely based on your own personal experience. That's it. So when people ask, atheist, how do you have morals? You have nothing to guide you. Well, we kind of look at you like you're dumb, and we're just like, well, look at your morals. Have you ever read what is guiding you? Have you ever looked into the things that your book is telling you to morally do? The things that you should be doing based on that book? If most people haven't read the entire thing, they don't see Deuteronomy that's telling you that you could pay 50 shekels, and if you rape a virgin child, well, it doesn't even have to be a child, just a daughter, a virgin. If you rape her, you can pay her father 50 shekels, and she is your wife for life.
Yeah. That's it's all good.
Yeah, it's like, that's totally moral. That's good. Like, no, it's really not.
Because they believe that, or that the reasoning behind that is that she is now ruined and can therefore not be someone else's wife. And since you're the one that ruined her, you got to have her now. Like, you break your bond.
Literally, that's exactly what it is. Like, well, now you got to keep her. It's like, really? That's kind of fucked up. But, I mean, there were egalitarian societies with women being praised because they were giving birth. They were giving new humans and stuff like that. So people were like, oh, that's awesome. Let's treat them like we treat ourselves. And then over time it became gods and goddesses with polytheism, and then it became monotheism with this slavery and patriarchy. And it just, now, without beliefs, secular people are bringing these things to light, and they're saying, look at that verse, that's fucked up. We shouldn't think that way. Like, seriously, it's crazy. I have one last video for everybody. It's awesome. It's everybody's favorite atheist, Richard Dawkins. He is asked the question, how can you believe in morals without belief? So, he'll kind of do exactly what I said.
Next question comes from in the audience. It's from Hamza Qureshi.
My question is for Professor Dawkins. Considering that atheism cannot possibly have any sense of absolute morality, would it not then be an irrational leap of faith, which atheists themselves so harshly condemn, for an atheist to decide between right and wrong?
There's that look I was talking about.
Absolute morality, the absolute morality that a religious person might profess would include what? Stoning people for adultery? Death for apostasy? Punishment for breaking the Sabbath? These are all things which are religiously based absolute moralities. I don't think I want an absolute morality. I think I want a morality that is thought out, reasoned, argued, discussed, and based upon, I could almost say, intelligent design. Can we not design our society which has the sort of morality, the sort of society that we want to live in? If you actually look at the moralities that are accepted among modern people, among 21st century people, we don't believe in slavery anymore. We believe in equality of women. We believe in being gentle. We believe in being kind to animals. These are all things which are entirely recent. They have very little basis in biblical or Quranic scripture. They are things that have developed over historical time through a consensus of reasoning, sober discussion, argument, legal theory, political and moral philosophy. These do not come from religion. To the extent that you can find the good bits in religious scriptures, you have to cherry pick. You search your way through the Bible or the Quran, and you find the occasional verse that is an acceptable profession of morality, and you say, look at that, that's religion. And you leave out all the horrible bits. And you say, oh, we don't believe that anymore, we've grown out of that. Well, of course we've grown out of it. We've grown out of it because of secular moral philosophy and rational discussion.
Yeah, that's actually a point that I made a few weeks ago on my Facebook, that I said, all of you Christians that believe in whatever you believe in, thank the secular activists, because if not for us, you'd be following the government's interpretation of Christianity, and if you didn't agree with it, you'd be dead. Period. If like that's how it was for thousands of years, and the fact that we're here now able to speak this way and able to have a show called That Atheist Show is due to the fact that we've evolved our morality. Our morality is no longer whatever the hell it was for the past 5,000, 6,000 years. I mean, even Babylon, like I said, Samaria, they had all these slavery. You had to prepare for death by putting money on the dead bodies. If somebody died, you had to make sure that they were properly buried. That was morally right. It didn't matter how they died or anything like that, just that they were properly buried afterward. It's just like, if they were a slave and you're whipping them in the back and they die, you better make sure that you give him some money so that he can get across that river because he worked for you. Like, that's morally good, really? So,
Not don't beat him in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so thankfully, society has evolved. Social evolution is going to continue to happen. There's no telling what things we do nowadays that people are going to look back on 2,000 years from now and be like, holy crap, we were some barbaric individuals.
What if racism is one of those things? They look back and they're like, why were people anything about their own species?
Hopefully, the point in time in the future of humanity where we look back on the racism of today and wonder what the hell was wrong with people. Because, I always like to hope that humanity is going to continue to evolve in a positive direction.
Hopefully. But
you never know. So, thanks for watching tonight, everybody.
Yes, definitely. Follow us on Facebook and everything. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, all That Atheist Show.
And next week we are going to have Nicholas Holland. He is the first openly atheist person to run for public office. He's running in Ohio. So if there's anybody in Ohio or knows somebody from Ohio, we're going to have a candidate on the show. So you might want to
know who you're going to vote for.
Yeah, if you're in his district. We'll see. Then I can't remember off the top of my head what district he's running in and all that stuff. But also, we are selling stickers on the website, and it's a sticky at the top of or a pinned post at the top of our Facebook page. That will definitely help us, promote the show and be able to get guests on the show and
continue what we do.
Yeah, get better cameras, get better sound stuff, just, improve the quality of the show over time. So,
stay tuned for next week, every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, That Atheist Show. Thank you very much for watching.